here called Wadi, and there's an exceptional woman from this charity that is trying to help these girls and help hundreds of other girls just like them. So they are getting some help. Their community is actually embracing them. This is not one of the situations where these girls, because they have been sexually assaulted, they're coming home and they're being beaten by their families. The Yazidi community has decided to make it a blanket policy that the girls need support and need to be welcomed back into the social fabric.
All right, there's so much there. Welcome to Gimme 5. First of all, we're talking about girls who have been abducted when these terrorist groups like ISIS and Boko Haram, they go into these villages, they kill all the men, they take the women, they beat them, they sexually assault them, they sell them into slavery, whatever. Some of them escape, some of them could get back home. And did you hear what he said? This isn't a case where they're beating the girls when they return home because they were sexually assaulted. That's the sickness of the whole thing. That if the girl gets sexually assaulted, it's her fault. The family would normally beat them, but they're not beating them now because they understand it's a problem. Oh my God. Wow, we don't even have a clue of what goes on in the rest of the world and in parts of the Muslim world. We don't even have a clue in this country. But that was Richard Engel and talking to Andrea Mitchell, and Andrea Mitchell's going to talk to Jen Psaki. Watch.
So there is some hope, but there are still hundreds of girls from this town and from other towns that are still being held by ISIS, including these girls' relatives.
Richard Engel, thanks so much for bringing this to us, and I know you have a lot more to report.
Okay, so it goes from Engel to Mitchell to Mitchell to Psaki. Now, pathetic. I just think the State Department spokeswomen are pathetic. And here's some of it. And
joining me now, State Department spokeswoman Jen Psaki.
Good afternoon, Andrea.
Good afternoon, Jen. I know that you read the intelligence, you know what is going on there. Richard has now brought this home to us just in the powerful stories of these children who are being raped and traded as chattel by ISIS.
All right, now, have you heard about this? Has the president spoken about this? Has Jen Psaki spoken about this? No. But she now is going to applaud NBC News for bringing this up because it needs to be talked about. Well, why aren't you talking about it? Why isn't the administration talking about it? Watch.
Well, Andrea, first I really want to thank you and thank Richard for bringing light to these types of stories. It's something that we don't talk about enough, the horrific atrocities that women and children are becoming victims of at the hands of ISIL. And this is really an untold story about what's happening in Syria, what's happening in Iraq, and something that we really all need to be talking about.
Well, this is the State Department spokesperson. She's thanking NBC News for talking about something that isn't talked about enough and we really need to be talking about. Well, then you drive the narrative, Jen. You drive the narrative. The president drives the narrative. If you got up at the next State Department briefing or in State Department briefings gone by, or if Josh Earnest had done so at the White House press briefings and brought this up, we'd be talking about it. But no, NBC uncovered this, and now you're acting like, oh, thank God you brought this up. You bring it up next time. It's your job. Girls, young girls, little girls, kidnapped, raped, beaten, sexually assaulted by ISIS. Does that move the president? One more.
It's something that we are very focused on here at the State Department. We have a whole office on international women and girls. They talk about this frequently, but we should all be screaming about how terrible this is.
We should be screaming. Screaming. Jen Psaki, Maria Hoff, Josh Earnest, John Kerry, Barack Obama. Why aren't you screaming about it? Why did it take NBC to bring this up for you to react this way? Why haven't you been talking about it? Because you're hypocrites, because you don't want the world to know, because that would just inflame people more, and Obama would look worse. Your Newsmax Now updates next.